Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Rank where I climb the online Series 7 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. In the last episode, we featured a really fun team with Jinx, so we'll be playing a couple more games with it today. This team was able to get to number 1 on the ladder, courtesy of Francesco Pardini, so please go check him out. He was able to climb to number 1 with this exact team, and he streamed his run, so yeah, he's linked in the description below on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Fantastic creator and an amazing player. So let's get started with today's episode. First game of the day is really cool. They have a Xurkitree. I've barely seen Xurkitree in this format, but of course it was a really solid Pokemon back when it first came out and actually made the finals of the World Championships in 2017. So that's pretty cool. They don't have any ground resists, though. Urshifu Clef could be scary. Could be actually very scary. Jinx isn't that good here, sadly, because they have Redirection and they have Feeny, and the Feeny means that I can't put things to sleep as easily. So, I think we'll probably have to drop Jinx for this one and go Weezing Gigas. I feel like Weezing Gigas, Urshifu, Alecki, like, this main core is just really solid in this matchup. The reason why I'm not the biggest fan of Jinx here, I already mentioned, first of all, is because of the Misty Terrain. I think the Clef also kind of makes it tougher. Plus, my opponent actually doesn't have anything that's weak to Ice type. Like, I think Jinx thrives against teams in which, like, the opponent has at least one Pokemon that's weak to Ice Beam, but in this case, none of them are. So, yeah. Pretty cool team for my opponents. I'm excited to see what they bring out against us. But thanks as always for watching Road to Rank. If you enjoyed, please share support by leaving a like. And question of the day, with us using Jinx, which is a really interesting fake out user, one that you don't see very often, I want to know what's one Pokemon that you would give fake out to if you had the chance to. Let me know in the comments below. It's going to be Xurkitree and Clef. What this screams to me is just Tail Glow turn 1. I mean, honestly, Max... Also, we cancelize the... Cancelize... I was gonna say cancel and neutralize, and then they just blended together. We cancel Friend Guard right now. So, like... Yeah, if you follow me with Clef, I'll just KO you and decrease Xurkitree's speed. Yeah, that's pretty good. If you don't follow me, if you protect, for example, I just one-shot Xurkitree. So I'm down to Max Strike Sludge Bomb here. I think Clefairy can be EV to survive a Max Strike. So I don't want to taunt here. I'd rather just pick up the knockout onto it. Basically, I should get a knock... Well, actually, no. I was going to say I should get a knockout here, but I guess you could just double protect. Double protect would actually be a problem, wouldn't it be? But, like, Alecki plus Urshifu are really good Pokemon to have in the back. I think one thing while playing with this team, both yesterday and just, like, a couple of games of practice, is that, like, I love bringing Jinx. Jinx plus Cinderace is so good, but sometimes, like, it's easy to overthink it. And Weezing Regigigas, like, a lot of teams still just don't have good answers for. Oh, but they Dynamax Xurkitree. That is interesting. That is... Oh, no. Wait, I didn't think about this as an option, but if they just Helping Hand Max Lightning into Weezing. Oh, I should have thought about that, and I should have Max Quaked instead. That's what's coming my way, isn't it? Okay, they just follow me. Max Lightning might still one-shot me, though, and if it does, we're doomed. Oh, I should have thought about Dynamax Xurkitree right from the get-go. And yeah, Clef actually is able to hang on, which is why I wanted a Sludge Bomb. Honestly, it's not the end of the world here, even if Weezing gets one-shot, but obviously it's not ideal, because then Slow Start just gets activated immediately. I should have Max Quake there and Sludge Bomb maybe instead, but... Yeah, because Max Quake still KOs Xurkitree if you're not Dynamaxing. And I needed a cover for that up. Oh, but they Max Strike. Okay, does that KO? That shouldn't KO, right? Oh, it still KOs? What normal type attack does that even get? Hyper Voice? Is it Life Orb Tree? Slow Start. I got a Beast Boost. Oh, that's so bad. It is Life Orb. Oh, I got baited into thinking Tail Glow. I think... Well, even if we Max Quake there, it's actually still pretty awkward the subsequent turn. Nice play. That was really cool. That was really cool. Okay. The reality is that, like, Regigigas actually still does a lot of damage despite slow starts, so it's actually not, like, over by any means, but it could have gone a lot better, obviously. They're going to bring out Urshifu. That's okay. I think I want to Webs here. Go for an Electro Web because I want to decrease their speed so that my Urshifu outspeeds my opponent in subsequent turns. And I think I'm just going to go for a Strike if I can get it off here somehow into the Urshifu. I didn't think about Life Orb Xurkitree. I had my like just Tail Glow as soon as I saw like a redirection user plus Xurkitree. And I was like, oh, this is super safe for us. Yeah. Even if I had gone for Max Quake turn 1, I don't know how good things actually would have gone. I also can't help but wonder whether I should have T-bolted Urshifu here, but I'm assuming it's Sash. Okay. They're gonna Wicked Blow. Yeah, that makes sense. Into Lucky. I couldn't have protected in front of that. Should I have just gone into Urshifu then? No, because I thought I had to decrease my opponent's speed. They're gonna Lightning? No, they just go for a Strike. Okay, makes sense. This Dynamax Xurkitree is actually kind of sick, because, like, honestly, Jinx plus Cinderace wouldn't have been any better against it either. It's the Life Orb that makes all the difference here, too, which is super sick. Okay, hopefully this still KOs. If it doesn't, we're in a lot of trouble, I think. Okay, good. Still get the knockout onto that. And now I have Banded Urshifu in the back. I think my opponent still wins this, though, to be honest. Because I don't pressure... unless Banded Close Combat or Wicked Blow just one-shots the Xurkitree. Also comes down to what my opponent's last one is. It's going to be Feeny. That's not good. I think my opponent should win this, then. What can I hope for here? Man, the Dynamax Life Orb Xurkitree is actually kind of a sleeper pick. Like, I don't even think I have a very consistent answer against it with this team. It's that plus the Clef. If my opponent doesn't have Clef, obviously I can just double up on a Xurkitree immediately right from the start. If I were to play this differently, I would probably have gone Max Quake, hope to survive a Dynamax move from the Xurkitree, taunt into Clef. That's how I would have replayed this. I think Max Quake taunt's a better play. If you don't go for Follow Me and you protect, we just knock out Xurkitree. Yeah. Taunt Max Quake is the play here. I just didn't even think about Life Orb Xurkitree when I saw the lead. And I should have assessed that as a bigger threat in the moment. Yeah, okay. I mean, there's no way Urshifu survives the turn, right? I guess Wicked Blow, Max Lightning, but because we don't have Sash, even if we KO Xurkitree here, I don't even think we win the game anyway. Oh, that was close. That was so close. Yeah, they are just going to Moonblast Urshifu here, though, right? Yeah. So even if we KO'd there, it's a 1v1 of Regigigas against Feeny. And that's the main issue with Regigigas Weezing, right? You want to focus your efforts onto the Weezing. So, like, I had a better play turn 1. I definitely should have Quaked. I didn't even think about... Okay, actually, do we even survive a Max move from Xurkitree? Especially if they go for Max Lightning. The Max Strike was kind of surprising. So, like, we could have punished that by going for a... Let's see, Weezing... That was really cool. I also really don't know what normal type attack Xurkitree gets, so I want to double check that real quick. Can we check their team? No, we can't. I was thinking Hyper Voice, but this is literally my first time seeing Xurkitree in this format. Oh, Hyper Beam is probably it. That explains why it's so powerful, too. That's base 150. Has to be Hyper Beam. Okay. Wow. Base 150. So you have base 150, max. If we have +1 Spadef, we're guaranteed to survive that. However, if you go for just a Max Lightning there, is that a KO? It is a guaranteed KO. So, we could have punished my opponent's play by going for a Max Quake, but they could have just punished us in return. By like, they should have just gone for Max Lightning, I think. It would have been safer. Yeah, Clef Xurkitree is actually really tough to go up against. I guess I could have protected the Weezing turn 1, but then we still eat up a Max Strike, which isn't ideal. Maybe that's what they were reading into. They just wanted to decrease my speed. I think that would make a lot of sense. So, clutch lead. And I think Xurkitree Clef actually covered anything I could have let in that game, too. Like, Xurkitree is really good, because, like, we don't have great lightning resists. And the Max Strike is really cool for speed control. That's my first time seeing it. We got crushed by it, honestly, and props to my opponent, because I think they played the Xurkitree really well, and I also just, like, yeah, Life Orb Xurkitree is really sick. So I didn't really get the most out of Weezing that game, which was kind of sad. Sorry, Weezing and Gigas, but obviously combination of those. And I think we would have lost that endgame anyway. I mean, if they were Banded Urshifu, I could have brought out my Urshifu, just click Close Combat into theirs and hope for a speed tie win. Yeah. But as soon as we lost Weezing, it was going to be tough. This makes me want to go just Jinx Cinderace. Actually... Weezing Gigas. What's the problem with that? If they go Urshifu, that's a problem, right? Urshifu Whimsicott, for example. So I think I'm going to go back to the roots. Jinx, Cinderace, Aleki, and Urshifu. Seems okay. I don't know. I mean, I kind of want to bring Weezing here, ideally, but it's fine. Jinx is pretty good. I mean, it has Ice Beam coverage into the Venusaur. The Sash is really helpful here as well. I suppose the problem with this, though, is that if my opponent just leads... Actually, Charizard Urshifu is a pretty good lead on their end, right? Oh, they go Whimsicott Terrakion. Okay, I'm fine with that. Am I fine with that? I'm fine with that. Wait, am I? Because you could just Rockfall into the Cinderace. Yeah, that's actually kind of scary. Rockfall would be a problem. Does that one-shot Cinderace for Life Orb? It honestly might. This is so tricky because my opponent has two decisions here. Do you Rockfall Jinx or Cinderace? Because if you target Jinx, like I could fake out Airstream Whimsicott here, right? But I can't KO without... I guess the question is whether or not Terrakion one-shots us. I guess we'll find out. Should they Dynamax and roll? I would think it one-shots us, but maybe I'm wrong. Weezing Regigigas. How would that have fared here? Not that well, because... Yeah, actually, that would be really bad, because you just go beat up close combat into Gigas turn 1, which is a disaster. I don't know. I feel like if I'm my opponent, I Dynamax Terrakion, Rockfall. Oh, but they don't max. That's huge. That is absolutely huge, because it means we survive the turn regardless. Are you Koba? Maybe I should have Max Flared instead. Okay, they're not Koba. I mean, Koba on Whimsicott's pretty rare. Obviously, you want to run Sash on it, but this turn one could have gone a lot worse, in my opinion. If their Life Orb Dynamax Terrakion, they Rockfall into Cinderace, it becomes a disaster. Which is why I was thinking about Knuckling to change into Fighting type. They just go for Rock Slide, okay. I mean, it's still a lot of damage, but I'll take that because, like, it's better than the alternative, which is just fainting. They're not Life Orb either, okay. So I outspeed with Jinx now, which means it's time to Lovely Kiss, I think. I've got Aleki and Urshifu in the back. Both of those are good, but Terrakion being faster than Urshifu is obviously scary, so ideally we want to knock this thing out. What's the item on it? It's not going to be Sash. Lumberry, I think, is actually a pretty likely possibility. They also bring out Charizard, which is interesting. Like, who would you Dynamax out of these two? Because the reality is that I can go for a double up onto one of these Pokemon and just try to pick up a KO right now. I would probably max Charizard, to be honest. So I think I want to go for a Lovely Kiss onto that. But if you max Terrakion and Rockfall into... Oh, but then I can counteract the Rockfall with the Knuckle. Okay, here's the scary thing, though. This actually really may come down to whether or not I hit the Lovely Kiss. Because if I... Well, first of all, let's see who they max. I'm hoping it's Charizard. The reason why I think Charizard makes more sense is because you can also G-Max Wildfire and then get the Residual and Airstream to boost Terrakion speed. Okay, so they do max that, which is what I wanted to see. But I think if we miss Lovely Kiss, we will just lose this game. Now, we've been pretty fortunate in hitting our Lovely Kisses in the last episode. And its accuracy isn't exactly amazing. Okay, so first of all, we'll start off with the Knuckle. We already have the speed boost on Jinx, so that's faster, so that's good. Yeah, because I think if we hit, we win, and if we miss, we lose. Oh, they're not Sash Terrakion, though, so maybe even if we miss this, it's not the end. No. Oh, that was a crit. Yeah, I don't think it KOs without that crit, so that was definitely a big crit for us. But honestly, I'd rather not crit and hit the sleep than the other way around, so... More importantly, do we hit the Lovely Kiss? We do not. Okay. And it is going to be Wildfire here. Into Cinderace. Yeah. It's still possible to win, though, with Aleki and Urshifu in the back. Plus, like I said, like, that's the reality with Lovely Kiss, right? Yesterday, we were fortunate enough to be in positions where we didn't need to hit to win. Today was one of those where we did need to hit to win. The Life Orb is on the Charizard, which makes sense. What's your last one, though? Because I do have two Pokemon that outspeed you right now because you didn't go for an Airstream, so... Like, I do have Thunderbolt and Wicked Blow. These are two pretty powerful attacks. What do they have in the back? Venusaur, Torkoal? Ah, it's Urshifu. Urshifu. Okay. How do I deal with that? That was the worst out of the three we could have seen. If there were either two, I'd actually feel decent about this endgame. I like Electro Webbing here. See, the thing is I'm banded. My opponent will just win if you... Like, I'm leaning towards targeting a Charizard, but I think Charizard max guarding here is definitely a possibility. I'm going to read into it now, max guarding. Oh, they just Sucker Punch. Does that one-shot us? Oh, well, if they crit. I wonder if they were choice banded there. Dang. I think I made the right play there, too. Well, that is how the cookie crumbles sometimes. Does Urshifu KO with, if you're guaranteed with band onto Lecky? Urshifu, right. And we got a crit onto their Terrakion, so I can't complain that much, but, yeah. I think this game highlights how high variance games can be sometimes, right? Okay, if you are choice banded and you're adamant, or no, sorry, not Jolly, you're Jolly and you have choice band, it's almost a guaranteed KO, basically. So, if they were banded, which I actually think is pretty likely there, then there wasn't really much of a win con there anyway. Basically, the win con in this game was hit the Lovely Kiss, but that's the reality of it. Sometimes you are going to miss, and that is going to cause you to lose games, right? And I think given how fortunate we were in yesterday's episode to hit those, like I said, can't really complain too much about it. So, like, in today's episode, the first loss, honestly, was up against, like, a really tough matchup. Against this, like, that's the upside of using Pokemon like Xurkitree or Jinx or whatever, right? Like, a lot of teams aren't, like, adequately prepared for them, and so you will have a positive matchup against a lot of Pokemon in the format. So, yeah. That one, like I said, there was a small window of opportunity to have played better, but if our opponent also played perfectly, I think we just lose that, honestly, no matter what. It's really, really tough to beat that Xurkitree when it has Clef support. This match, I think, yeah, if we just manage to put the Jinx to sleep, even if we don't crit the Terrakion, like, we're in a really commanding position with the Lecky and Urshifu in the back. And then Cinderace should survive the turn as well. So, in this one, we basically needed to hit the Lovely Kiss, and unfortunately we did not. But, like I said, that's the like risk of using a 75% accurate attack, and you don't want to typically, like, bet your games off a 75% chance, right? So if you can try to mitigate it, it's ideal. And I think in yesterday's episode, we were able to put ourselves in positions where we didn't need to hit to win the game, but in today's, it was kind of tough. Okay, last match, we got Celesteela stuff here. This looks like a Regigigas game for sure, actually. I think it's definitely Weezing Regigigas here. Jinx in the back's actually kind of cool. It's probably just a Lecky Urshifu, though. Especially because I have the Jinx, you should be a little bit more hesitant to bring your Ice Weeks. Do I want to give Jinx a shot at redemption? It's just that a Lecky and Urshifu do so well here. Actually, I could justify bringing Jinx over a Lecky. But they have a Celesteela. Yeah, I think Celesteela is a big enough threat that warrants me bringing Regieleki. It's just one of those Pokemon that can, like, 1v4 your team if you don't bring the right answers to it. So, yeah. Still thinking about those last two games. First one, what do I even do against a Clef, Life Orb, Hyper Beam, Zerk? I don't know, but I think that combo is sick, and now I want to play with it. It's like a new means of hyper offense. That was really cool. I guess I could have gone, like, Jinx. Honestly, Jinx would have been better in that first game just for the chance to put things to sleep. But then it's like, what do I lead it with? Like, how would I play against that lead in a best of 3, for example? I don't know. I don't know. I don't have a good answer. If we had Steel Spike on Cinderace, maybe it's the Steel Spike, like helping out Steel Spike KO Clef, but we don't even have that. They go Amoonguss Landorus, the most Jinx weak lead they could have brought. This is fine, because we have Shuka on the Weezing. Unless you're Sashamungus. That's my fear right now. Like, what I want to do is just Hailstorm Amoonguss. Oh, wait. I could, why Hailstorm? I could Max Strike Will-O-Wisp. Well, unless Max Strike doesn't one-shot Amoonguss. I feel like Amoonguss is probably bulky enough to survive, so I'm going to play it safe turn 1 and Hailstorm plus Protect. But if you're Sash Amoonguss, that's a problem. If you're not, though, then next turn I can just Max Strike the Amoonguss Will-O-Wisp. I'm just, I can't believe they led this into potential Jinx. Nicely done by my opponent. That being said, I don't really regret not bringing Jinx because the reality is that we have two Pokemon that match up well against... Like Gigas is pretty good in this position, right? And if I were to knock out even one of these two, like, Jinx becomes substantially worse, I would say, going on to the subsequent turn. So the Dynamax Landorus. Yeah, my only fear here is if you're Sash Amoonguss. Because if you're Sash, we should one-shot with Hailstorm. Like, yeah, if I knock out the Amoonguss here, I just Hailstorm KO Landorus next turn, and it's really tough for my opponent to win. I don't know. If I wanted to cover for Sash, what would I have done? Max Strike. Sludge Bomb? Okay, they go for Rage Powder. That's the best case scenario, so I'm happy about that. Ooh, unless you Airstream here instead of Quaking. That'd actually be a problem. They weren't Sash Amoonguss, though. That's good. I don't know if Max Strike can one-shot Amoonguss. I mean, if it's a guaranteed KO. If it's a guaranteed KO even against max HP, max defense, then that's definitely the better play. But I was worried about it surviving. Okay, they go for Quake. Nice. Okay. I think we're in a really commanding spot after that, then, because we can just Hailstorm Landorus and Taunt or Will-O-Wisp, whatever's coming in. My opponent doesn't really have much counterplay here. It still does a hefty amount, even with the Shuka through Protect, but I think it looked like that did, what, 30 damage? So, yeah, we would have survived, even without a Protect, but... Actually, why Protect there, then? Why not just Will-O-Wisp? What am I protecting for? Because I don't think Airstream one-shots us either. Well, if you crit, though, it's a disaster, so it's probably better to still play it safe. Okay. I don't know the item on Landorus. They bring up Porygon. Yeah, I think this is just over, honestly, because it's just Hailstorm. Oh, unless you're Ally Switch Porygon. Oh, gosh. Okay, Oh, that's actually such a problem if you are Ally. If you're not Ally Switch, it's the easy Max Hailstorm in a Landorus, Taunt Porygon. Oh my goodness. Is it going to be Ally Switch? I also really don't want Trick Room to go up. Alright, if they have Ally Switch, they have it. So be it. Okay, thank goodness. It's so scary because, like, we don't have a guaranteed play to cover for the Ally Switch option. And, yeah, at first I was like, oh, this game is free. Easy. One, right? But then, yeah, it's like... And maybe they did have Ally Switch and didn't go for it. Although I think if I had it in that position, I would always go for it. Like, the first turn you go for Ally Switch is always the best, really. Especially when it's on something that doesn't use it as frequently, like Porygon. But that should seal the game. Okay, they go for Tri-Attack, but that's fine. Like, we can just strike next turn. Weezing should survive this. Good damage, though, I have to say. And with Regigigas, if you can get 3 max moves off, you're in a really good spot. And that's what was able to happen in this game. So, yeah, in the end, like, Jinx wouldn't have been super good to have. It would have been nice as a lead, though, honestly. Like, Jinx Cinderace totally could have worked in this game, because I could have gone Airstream Ice Beam turn 1. And, yeah, they have Celesteela in the back, so Alecki should finish that off. So, here I'm just going to... Well, I like setting up terrain. It doesn't matter, right? Max Strike Sludge Bomb into Porygon should be fine. Actually, given that... My voice totally just sounded like it cracked. I'm actually kind of down to Max Lightning here. Because this sets up my endgame, where I should definitely one-shot Celesteela. So I can Max Lightning and Sludge Bomb into... Well, actually, I'd rather just Taunt here into Celesteela. Prevent it from protecting. Yeah. Okay, they just forfeit. I mean, we had such a big lead here, so I think we could have actually played it in multiple different ways, but Max Lightning Taunt works out the best in my opinion, because I set up the terrain for Alecki. If you protect Celesteela that turn, then Alecki just comes in and one-shots you the subsequent turn. Now, if you don't protect Celesteela, I've also taunted you, so I can guarantee KO you the next turn. So the worst case scenario would have been Celesteela going for a protect and then getting a double protect the subsequent turn. Yeah, that's probably the worst case. It's been a fast episode today, so we'll play a fourth one here. Yeah, I'm still thinking about that Xurkitree team. That was sick. And, you know, I think this is an episode to... Like, losing is a really important part of Pokemon, right? Like, it's obviously great to win, but you learn more from your losses. And so, like, if I'm reflecting on today's episode, it's like, okay, we lost 2 games. That sucks. But how were those losses? The first one was to a really cool team. And that kind of element of surprise is cool, right? That's why team building is such an important component of Pokemon. If you bring something that your opponents don't cover for, you can give them so much trouble. And for that one, it's like I said, it's tough for me to even come up with like a significantly better / safer play on the first turn. And I have to probably sit down and actually like think about it for a longer period of time. And that's just a testament to like running into a really cool core. And that second game was always going to be, not always, but I think it's like did pretty much come down to hitting that lovely kiss. And, I think I put myself in a position to win. And the majority of the time we're in a pretty good spot, but in the end we didn't hit. And that's fine. That's just like what you have to swallow when you use a lower accuracy attack. I also don't know if the Urshifu was banded, because if it weren't, then we also totally could have won that endgame as well. But yeah, I don't know with confidence. All right, this is a very hyper offensive team from my opponent's team, which is pretty scary because it is, just hyper offense against hyper offense. But they're faster, and that's the main problem. What if I just go Weezing Gigas? See, I don't know. Actually, that gets crushed if you lead Urshifu Dragapult, because you can just Airstream Close Combat into Regigigas. Or a Lucky plus Urshifu. Alright. I think we have his final send-off with Jinx. Yeah. I'll go Jinx, Cinderace, Urshifu, Lucky. This is just scary, though, because my opponent has a lot of Pokemon that are faster than us. They have Dragapult, their own Lucky, and then Whimsicott with Tailwind as well. So all of those add up. And it concerns me a fair amount. Yeah, those are not fun Pokemon to see here. Because like with this team, you typically want to outspeed your opponent's Pokemon, basically. I go Whimsicott and Lucky, though. That's actually probably one of the best case scenarios. Because I am free to just fake out Airstream turn 1. And actually, getting that Airstream is a really big deal. Now, the scary thing here is that like Specs the Lucky is... I could just fake out a Lecky, actually, but I don't think I don't want my opponent to get the Tailwind up. Oh, they could also Dynamax the Lecky. If you're helping hand Whimsicott, you Dynamax a Lecky. Oh, then it's actually doomed. That would actually be like Omega bad. In fact, that's like, I don't even know what the counterplay to that is. There isn't much. Oh, you really could switch out Whimsicott here, too. Ugh. Like, the double up on a Whimsicott's too obvious. But if I can force a switch out and get a speed boost, that's not that bad, right? Okay, they stay in. And they don't Dynamax a Lucky. That's, I think, the best case scenario. You could just protect Whimsicott here, I guess. I don't know. I thought super hard about doubling up onto a Lecky there. Like, fake out Flare, but then Tailwind goes up. Perhaps that's fine. I mean, if Whimsicott doesn't protect and it's not Koba here, this is great. Okay, no protect. That's a good start. Would you really be Koba on this team? Electro Ball. Huh. Normally, if you're... I mean, based on that damage, I think it's Specs. Okay, that ended up going out a lot better than it... Like... this is the thing about playing with hyper offense. It's like super high risk, super high reward often, and like the worst case scenarios are often like can just like lose you the game. And like there was a world in which my opponent had Helping Hand Whimsicott and Dynamax like Magnet Alecki, right? You just Helping Hand Max Lightning Cinderace, probably one shots us. I don't even know how I come back from that. I probably can't. But I don't have a play that covers for that option, which is really scary. That Electro Ball also makes me think your Specs. Plus, the damage output onto Cinderace there was pretty high, right? That did, like, almost 50%, and we're a pretty fast Pokemon to begin with, so fairly confident that's Specs Lucky. Okay, we're at +1 speed now. Honestly, leaning towards just flaring the Regieleki and going for a lovely kiss here onto Urshifu. Actually, alternatively, I could just Airstream... Oh, wait. I'm Flying type right now, which means this thing's going to hurt if it hits us. See, the thing here is... Lovely Kiss is a little bit... It's very high risk, very high reward. Actually, if I think... No, because you could Sucker Punch Cinderace here. Ugh. I went Flare Ice Beam for guaranteed damage on Urshifu and to break a Sash. Oh. Whoa. Is that... Who are you maxing? Okay. Is that a problem? Could be. Very well could be. I don't know. Should I have gone for... I could have airstreamed Ice Beamed into the Urshifu. I mean, I'm actually pretty happy getting a Max Flare off against an Alecki. I think they just Dynamax specs Alecki to try to, like, overwhelm me with offense, which honestly makes a lot of sense. Yeah, they went from Lightning onto Jinx. Okay. I honestly think this is okay for us. My only fear is whether or not it comes down to a speed tie between the Alekkis. I'm glad I didn't Lovely Kiss there, though, because Max Lightning would have messed us up there. Because then, yeah, it just sets up the terrain. And we're faster than Urshifu right now, which is nice, too. Get the Ice Beam off. Really good damage. Does Wicked Blow one-shot us? It does. But I don't think you have Protect on your Alecki, so I think I go into my Urshifu and I just Sucker Punch Ice Beam here. The thing is, then I'm locked into Banded Sucker Punch. I mean, I could go into my Alecki. I don't know if Magnet T-Bolt in Electric Terrain KOs the opposing Alecki. What would they have in the back? Dragapult, Metagross. Ugh. Also, if I go into Alecki, wait, I'm risking it on a speed tie, right? If I lose the speed tie, I would just insta-lose. So I think I have to go into Urshifu here, as much as it doesn't feel good. They could actually consider switching out their Alecki here. That'd be kind of interesting. Okay, I'm just going to Sucker Punch Ice Beam here. I think I have to. Because I think Banded Urshifu locked into Sucker Punch is still pretty good into anything else my opponent has, like their last one. You can't close combat me here because I will outspeed your Urshifu right now. I don't think Alecki has Max Guard, unless it was Magnet Electro Ball. Ooh. No, then it's fine, actually. Even if it were and you Max Guarded, and you knock out Jinx, I get a free switch it into my Urshifu. Or sorry, my Alecki. To which I could just... Okay, nice. Alright, we get Sucker Punch off. KO's Alecki, good. If they didn't Sucker Punch, we should just win the game off this. I think they should Sucker Punch Jinx, but we'll see. Nice, they did. Okay. Ooh, that was a scary game. I don't know, like, I feel like Hyper Offense against Hyper Offense is just so high variance. There's so many different ways that could have played out. Without knowing the Whimsicott's item, you know, whether or not it has Koba or Protect, for example, it's really scary, but... Jinx here was actually pretty clutch, especially after a speed boost, you know, being able... This is what I was saying in yesterday's episode, where it's like Jinx actually outspeeds a lot of the format after a single speed boost, right? So it's like, Ice Beam actually does really good damage into anything that does not resist it, yeah. And so in this game, like, my opponent didn't have any resist, right? They brought Whimsicott, Dragapult, Alecki, and Urshifu, and all of those are either take neutral damage or are super effective. Or, I should say, are weak to Ice Beam. So, yeah. Now we just Sucker Punch Ice Beam. Did they need to bring out Urshifu? Because, like, they definitely could have brought out Dragapult, right? And then Dynamax Dragapult? No, but then they kind of just lose off that. Yeah, I actually think their Max Alecki play was good. I think this game becomes a lot harder if they actually just switch Whimsicott out into Dragapult turn 1. Unless Airstream actually one-shots Dragapult, but I don't think it does without a Life Orb. Yeah, it was Specs Alecki. Yeah, so they didn't have Protect. That was my best bet. I mean, like, if you see Electro Ball, it's almost always Choice Specs. Ah, it was Banded Urshifu as well. Okay, so yeah, they couldn't really do much in that position. It was Life Orb pull with Will-O-Wisp. That's pretty cool. Weakness Policy Metagross, Koba on the Amoonguss, and Sash on the Whimsicott without Protect. So, yeah, if my opponent switches out turn 1, it gets a little bit more interesting. You know what's actually a really good play that they could have made? Wait, did they have Electro Web? Oh, wait, they did. Yeah, I think if my opponent switched Whimsicott in a Dragapult turn 1 and goes for an Electro Web, we actually kind of just lose the game on turn 1. Because then, I am Flying type in the subsequent turn, I don't have Protect, and you've lowered my speed, so that Alecki outspeeds me the subsequent turn. So then you can just go for another Electro Web, or even be more... Actually, your specs, so you have to Electro Web. You just Electro Web, and then Dragapult maxes and just KOs me. So, that was like a game-winning play for my opponent turn 1, but... It's so high risk, high reward for all of us involved in this one, because it's like my counterplay to that would be what? Fake out the Aleki, double up onto that, but then I don't get a speed boost. Actually, maybe that's what I have to concede, though. Like, it might have been just better to have doubled up on Aleki, but like I said, well, I guess if Aleki Dynamaxes and it's actually Magnet, we lose the game regardless. Wait, did they have Helping Hand on Whimsicott there in the end? Forgot. They did! Huh. Yeah, I think my opponent just really wanted to get Tailwind up. But I think, honestly, in a matchup like that, it favors them a little bit more because they're faster with their Pokemon. Like, they have a Dragapult and a Aleki, and that outspeeds their Cinderace. So they could have gone Helping Hand. No, even if you... Helping Hand Max Lightning, I wonder if that's enough to KO Cinderace without a Magnet. We can do the calc, right, actually? Why don't I do that right now? I'm curious. Regieleki into Cinderace. You are max special attack, right? Is it modest or timid? Yeah, either way, I didn't feel super good about... Like, we won, which is nice, obviously, but it was definitely close. It was definitely close. And I think, like, we could have instantly lost on turn 1, which is probably what scares me the most. Okay, so Max Lightning with Helping Hand against a Dynamax. Oh, Cinderace actually survives that, which is nice. That makes me feel a little bit better. But like I said, I think if my opponent just goes Electro Web turn 1 and then switches out Whimsicott into a Dragapult, we kind of just lose. So, yeah. But I don't know if I have a play like covered for that option and what my opponent did and the Dynamax Aleki route. So, yeah, that's the power of this kind of hyper-offensive stuff. So we ended up getting on the better end there. But, yeah, I don't know. That's a game that could have easily gone either way. And it wasn't like we were in, like, you know, a commanding position the entire time. But in the end, we were able to pull out with it. So... yeah, we ended up going 2-2 today. Like I said, those first 2 losses, honestly, don't feel that bad about. First one was to a really cool team with great execution, and to a Pokemon that I've just barely ever seen. And that's the strength of using Pokemon that are not very meta, like I've mentioned. And then the second game, like I said, I think we're in a pretty good spot if we hit the Lovely Kiss, but at the end of the day... Actually, let's think about that second game. How would I have been in a better... How could I play better so that I don't have to rely on hitting Lovely Kiss? How do I outlead Whimsicott Terrakion? It's definitely not Weezing Gigas. Because, like I said, you could just beat up Close Combat or Max Knuckle Gigas turn 1, and we just kind of lose off that. So it's not that. And like, I think Lum Terrakion was pretty likely there, given that it wasn't Life Orb or Sashed either. Well, actually, I guess, no. There's no way you're Sashed if you have Whimsicott on the team. Well, what would I have done? I feel like our lead was honestly not bad. Jinx Cinderace works. I can't really lead my Urshifu. I could lead a Aleki, Jinx Aleki. No, I think it has to be Jinx Cinderace. Just sucks that we pretty much have to rely on hitting a Lovely Kiss in that game. There's probably some way in which I could play a little bit better to avoid the Lovely Kiss, but what was scary about like going up against Whimsicott is that you feel forced to like KO the Whimsicott immediately, and because if not, your opponent's just gonna get Tailwind up, outspeed you, and if this team is getting outsped, you're probably gonna lose. And so you like one of the win conditions is to just have to deny Tailwind and make sure you consistently outpace your opponent. I think Whimsicott was Tailwinding turn 1. I guess I could Helping Hand Max Knuckle Terrakion. I don't think that's a very good play. Yeah, I gotta think about both the first and the second one a little bit more. I feel like there's probably better approaches as opposed to what I did, but it's not coming to me apparently immediately because the matchups were not exactly like the easiest. So yeah, but it was a fun set of games. Jinx came out all the time as well, so I hope you guys enjoyed watching that. Thank you to Francesco for the team. Thank you to you guys as always for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Don't forget to try out the team and check out Francesco in the description below, and I'll see you guys next time. All right, peace.